Today, we're going to take a closer look at Nvidia and a lot of updates impacting various markets of theirs. First, we're going to take a closer look at the memory space, which can help overall with their AI accelerator. Then we're also hearing reports about more companies entering into the robotics market. So kind of take a closer look at what Nvidia has to offer here. And finally, I want to take a closer look at some recent reports that an Nvidia customer, Meta Platforms, is planning on purchasing an AI chip company and how I see that as an Nvidia stock investor. So let's take a closer look. But before we go any further, make sure to hit the thumbs up, make sure to hit the subscribe button, check out the pinned comment for special offer at fool.com/Jose, and check out my free daily semiconductor newsletter, whatthechip.happened.com.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for the subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
All right, so we can see Nvidia in the last week had a great run, and next week we do have Nvidia earnings, and I'm super excited as we're going to hear a lot of great updates, and hopefully we're going to be filled with a lot of Q&A, a lot of great Q&A session there, right? That's where I'm more excited. I'm not too sure how the stock is going to react on next week's earnings, and the upcoming days I'll probably be doing a video on kind of earnings expectations and just my overall thoughts. But what I like to see from these earnings as a long-term investor is more what Jensen has to say, more some of the great questions that usually come up through this Q&A session that help me build more of an evidence of a bullish thesis for Nvidia. Now, this week is going to be a short week as we have kind of a 4-day trading day. And the first news I want to take a closer look at is there are reports that MICRON is reportedly set to mass produce 12-stack HBM3 securing Nvidia's supply deal. So for those that are not familiar, right, NVIDIA's AI chips need special type of memory, and that special type of memory is HBM3. It's HBM. Right now, we're kind of in the HBM3 era, and we can see here with the Blackwell platform and NVIDIA's most recent roadmap, how HBM3E is the one that's going to really be for the Blackwell platform. Now, fast forward into the Rubin platform, we're going to enter into the HBM4. Now, with this HBM3E, we're actually kind of getting a new style of solution where it's called 12 high stack, a 12 high stack memory chip. And here we can see that's mainly expected to be used on the Blackwell Ultra GPU, aka the B300. And that's not expected to be released till later this year. But it's great news to kind of see that important player in this place, MICRON, has kind of discussed and shown that their HBM 12 stack HBM3E is already kind of meeting all of NVIDIA's needs, and hopefully, reportedly as it is, it has passed the verification test. So that's a great thing, because as an NVIDIA investor, obviously, the supply chain is such a tricky space, and you have to make sure it keeps evolving. So right now, the 3 players in the HBM market are SK Hynix, which is the leader by far in the HBM market. Number 2 is MICRON, and number 3, that's not really making much of an appearance here in the HBM3E market, is Samsung Technology. Now, that might change in HBM4, right? Because HBM4 is kind of like a different technology platform. I do believe it's still going to be mainly SK Hynix and MICRON, but there is that worry that maybe you might start to see more competition in the kind of HBM4 market, right? Because, for example, Samsung might say, hey, look, it's too late for me to really focus on HBM3E right now. Maybe I should have my engineerings mainly focus on HBM4. And that's what kind of MICRON did a little bit, right? MICRON didn't really release an HBM3. They just jumped into HBM3E because SK Hynix was already a monster in the HBM3 market. Now, I do believe this is great news for MICRON. It can kind of just help them with more bullish sentiment for their AI chip memory market. And right now with the stock, I did a video of it less than a week ago where I mentioned this stock under 100 is one that I'm bullish on. But for some of those reasons that I mentioned, right, it's a stock I'm bullish on, but one you have to keep a closer eye on, because competition is fierce, and competition, or if you kind of slip up in the innovative process and don't innovate fast enough, it can be something that can turn this story around pretty quickly. And that's pretty much with the tech space, right? If you're looking to invest in the tech space, you need to understand that if they don't innovate and if things slow down or if competition speeds up, stock prices can react pretty quickly. So I don't say that to be bearish for Micron, but more for an awareness of investors to understand how quickly this market can transform. Now, kind of going into other news impacting NVIDIA is we are getting reports that massive amount of companies are focusing on humanoid robotics, right? I mean, we already heard your popular Tesla and your Figure oh 01 and some of those private industries, but in the past few days, we've heard of two big players as well, Apple and Meta entering kind of the robotics market. Now, I did do a Meta episode earlier this morning where I go more in depth in it and kind of explain how Meta can really benefit from this robotic space. In today's segment, I really want to more just focus on NVIDIA. And for NVIDIA, I mean, in the last earnings, Jensen shared a lot about the AI robotics market. So investments in industrial robotics are surging due to breakthroughs in physical AI, driving new training infrastructure demand as researchers train world foundation models on petabytes of video and omniverse synthetically generated data. He also mentioned that the age of robotics is coming, and NVIDIA's expertise, scale, and ability to deliver full stack and full infrastructure lets them serve entire multi-trillion-dollar AI and robotics opportunities ahead, from every hyperscaler cloud, enterprise private cloud, to sovereign regional AI clouds, on-premise to industrial edge and robotics. And NVIDIA, for those that are not familiar, has various AI solutions, from the software stack, the hardware stack, the stack that you use at the edge, for the training, for the inference, for the simulation of data, vision AI, chips. They have so much components that if the robotics market is definitely growing, NVIDIA can benefit from one of those avenues, right? It doesn't, a company like Meta might not buy the full stack from NVIDIA, but maybe they might use their AI data center chips to train kind of the robotics market. Or maybe they might use NVIDIA software solutions to kind of create synthetic data for the robotic space. Maybe they might use some other software stacks to kind of help with the inferencing of a lot of these NVIDIA, of this robotics needs. So NVIDIA is well positioned for the robotic space and kind of the growth in this market. But it's great to see big players like Meta and Apple have rumors and reports that they are going to be entering in this space, as it kind of showcases that this is probably going to be somewhat like the new phone, where everybody eventually will probably have some form of robotic technology at their house or in their car or work or whatever. But industrial robotics is definitely a market we're going to be keeping a closer eye on. Now, the final news I want to take a closer look at is Meta Platforms. Again, there are reports that Meta is in talks to acquire an AI chip startup called Furosa AI. Again, I talked about this in the previous episode, and I want to talk about it as an NVIDIA investor. But this AI chip is meant to it's the number one efficient Llama inference chip. So it seems like they work really well with NVIDIA, Meta Platforms LLM. And many people look at this and say, hey, look, Jose, another big customer of NVIDIA is going to slow down their investments in NVIDIA, and they're going to rely solely on their own AI chip. Now, two things can be true. Meta Platforms can increase their investments in their own AI chip, and they can continue to invest heavily in NVIDIA. I mean, we've seen Google do it. We see AWS do it. We saw all these players do it. NVIDIA innovates at such a rapid pace that no one is going to keep up. And I think in another video, there's been some reports and discussions and research on why certain investment firms are against this whole ASIC is going to destroy NVIDIA mindset. But overall, NVIDIA has so much money in research and development. They have kind of the full infrastructure, from software, from hardware, from overall system, that there's no way a company, even a small business just kind of developing chips, can anywhere catch up to NVIDIA. But it can still benefit Meta Platforms. One thing that we have seen in this AI market, especially things with DeepSeek, as AI gets cheaper and cheaper, you're going to start to see more growth in use cases. And you start to see more growth in use cases you need to start seeing more strength, more computational power being used. And Meta platforms, they have billions of users in their platform. So for them to be able to really have the amount of computational power to be able to provide solutions to every customer of theirs and to release even new solutions in the future, they need to also focus on designing their own AI chip and not be solely dependent on Nvidia. But regardless, I believe Nvidia will still be a massive, massive customer, or provider or third party provider for Meta platforms. Things like this, if every other company buys another AI chip company, as an Nvidia investor, I wouldn't be worried at all because Nvidia is the most paranoid company in the world and they're going to continue to innovate at rapid levels. Now, the issue will come when Nvidia starts to see hiccups in their innovation. And right now, I don't necessarily see that. So those are my overall thoughts here on Nvidia. I just want to hear your overall thoughts. I do believe the memory market is going to be pretty exciting. And I mean, just not only from the AI accelerator space, but I could have also mentioned here with the robotics industry, right? If robotics is really going to pick up, you're going to need more memory solutions. If every other type of company is developing their own AI chip, they're most likely going to be using some type of HBM solution as well. So very, very strong trends for the memory market. It's not a guaranteed, but at least you have that force helping you have a higher chance of guaranteed. So Micron technologies below 100, I really, really do enjoy. NVIDIA, I'm just super excited about earnings, and this is going to be the best place you're going to get any NVIDIA news. So peace out.